I can do it. I can do Craig's job. I can do Craig's job.
You know how to work the switch?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, the light up. Okay, so there's a panel, and it's lit up, and it's like buttons. Okay, before we get started, I have the hiccups. My gosh.
So which one are the light ups that I need?
So they might be labeled.
Okay, BG, background.
No one's names are on any of those. No one's popping up.
There are no names.
Well, push the buttons then. Okay, well, don't push that
Not
one.
that one.
Okay.
That's funny.
Senor Dark.
Wrong. Yep. Incorrect.
Where did Craig go?
So those
The restroom.
Oh.
It's changing. Oh, is it not? Oh, then those are the preview buttons.
That's really funny.
These
Oh, there it is. Okay.
There you go. So
Ooh.
you'll figure out. Yeah.
Okay.
So that one was me. So they go in a sequential order, but I just want to say
There's John.
we got started, and somebody had sent a message about about having the audio show. So any shows that are in audio that we do for Patreon, we do not have a Patreon RSS feed. All of those shows are download only. We load them directly into the app or to the website, so you can listen through patreon.com or through the Patreon app. And yeah, unfortunately, Patreon does. That's a monetary. It costs money to do that through Patreon, and so we wanted to keep the cost down and things like that. But most the audio only stuff is really only anything under a $10 tier, right? So it's not like any of these shows are really. I don't mean to be rude. They're not really worth listening to on audio, but
Denny's learning.
Denny's doing
She's
it.
literally learning right now. It's not hard, isn't it?
No.
No.
Now I know why you're back here, but you do a million things at the same time.
Yeah, I'm usually scrolling Twitter.
Yeah, but then you also got a comment like,
I
switch
love
to me. Switch to me.
Exactly.
That's the best impersonation I can give. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Wow.
That's what happens. I get stressed out. That's
I'm just
that's
saying
usually
that
when
Denny
I'm.
is not moving to the production nook, people. She's mine. So
I mean, honestly, anyone can do it. Like, as long as you.
Anyone can cook.
yeah.
Don't say that. We're not going to get paid.
Yeah, no, it's a hard job. Stop.
Okay, so
like power
here's the
strips.
thing.
How do you turn them on?
Yeah, sometimes
easy
I
for
don't
you
know.
'cause
Do
you've
you
done it
push
for
down
so
on the
long.
right side? Or you push it on the left side? What if your finger gets stuck in the hole?
You and the holes.
man.
We've got to stop.
And that's
saying
a
those.
segue.
Okay,
Look, I have
I'm
this whole
switching with
Christmas
that. I'm
jacket, and I was like, Christmas shirt, but it's too cold for me to wear. No one will see it though.
Oh, it's like a video game Christmas.
Yeah, it's like video
It's
game
the
Christmas.
cutest
Donkey
thing.
Kong
I'm just
Christmas.
talking about it, but nobody sees it.
Yes.
We want to talk about the Eternals. Are you going to see the
Yes.
Eternals?
I have not seen it.
But we are going to. I have not seen it. We
well,
will
then we
see
can't
it.
talk about it.
Yes, you can.
We don't
Yeah,
want
you
to
can,
spoil
because
anything.
I won't remember it.
Yeah.
See, the thing about me now is that the minute you tell me something, I forget unless I write it down.
She's
So
like Finding Dory.
it is. I am.
Well, I mean, I guess we can talk about something else. I just know
Yeah,
that
you can
Craig
talk
and
about
Denny
it.
have very differing opinions
so
on
the
it. Is what
thing
I've
is-
learned from last night.
Yeah.
I
But
can
they
talk
don't know
about
for
it
sure.
without any spoilers because most of my problem for it is like in terms of the movie is literally the entire script and the entire plot of the story. It is
So the
it
entire
just-
movie.
Yeah. So it's not even like I have to pick out one part. Denny,
What?
so
She's seen it twice, Greg.
you
Twice.
went and saw it
okay.
twice.
She's on her way
So
to
Denny
a third.
liked it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, that's the only part because there is one part that I texted Rhino, and I'll maybe text it to you too. But there was a reveal about one character, and you get to hear the same reveal happen like 8 times in a row as they reveal it to a different character. And you're like, surely they're gonna be able to approach it in a different. Nope, exact
Yeah.
same way. So
They stand in a doorway.
Pensively.
Yeah.
They show up in whatever scene they're showing up. I'm going to give you literally the loosest no description, but they stand in a doorway ominously. It's like usually 2 or 3, however many characters have learned at this point. The other character that's off living their life turns around and sees them, and they make some sort of joke or hello, good to see you.
Hey, it's been centuries.
Yes, and then it's like we've got some news,
Yeah.
and then it's also the world's about to end, and then it's also we got to go find the other person.
Yeah, it's the
It is a little repetitive in that sense.
no, it is insanely repetitive.
I didn't.
And
I'm like in the middle. I think
as
between
I
the two.
told Rhino, I saw in the same 24-hour time period, I went to see The Last Duel, the
Okay.
Ridley Scott
What'd you
epic
think?
drama. I actually really enjoyed it, but the whole thing about that movie, if you haven't seen anything about it, heard anything about it, it's the story of the last like duel in France that was actually allowed by the king before they kind of got rid of it. But literally the entire movie is the same exact story being told by the perspective of 3 different characters. So the first 45 minutes are all from Matt Damon's side of the story. And then the next 35 minutes is from Adam Driver's side of the story. And then the final is the Jodie Comer. Is that her name? Jodie Comer?
I don't know who you're talking about.
You would know who she is if you saw a picture of her. But so you literally just watched the same story play out 3 times in a row. So literally the definition of repetition.
Right.
And
The girl from Free
still
Guy.
thought,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I still thought that Eternals was more repetitive
What?
than a movie that's solely based around repetition with it. And I like a lot of the cast by themselves in roles. But this was some of like the flattest acting in the world, just overall.
I didn't feel like that necessarily. I know you had said that to me before we walked in, and I know one of your complaints was about Angelina Jolie, who I actually thought was fine. I will say I did have a problem with a little bit of structure, and this isn't really a spoiler, but it's like there's a guy in the first 10 minutes. So there's 2 characters. There's Cersei's, who's essentially the main character Eternal, and there's another main character Eternal, which is Icarus. I would argue they're the 2 main characters in the movie, yeah? And so there's this guy that Cersei is seeing in current day, who's the dude from Game of Thrones. I just recognize him from commercials. I haven't seen the show. I guess 2 of them are in the show, but
yes, no, because and this is part of what I groaned audibly in the theater because they do a moment. You watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
So they do a moment, without spoiling what happens,
when?
but they acknowledge when they come face to
Cambridge.
face, like, you look familiar.
Oh.
Like, it's...
Wait, no. They brought Game of Thrones into the Eternals
they were
movie?
being like funny.
That's
like, whatever.
a bad mashup.
That was my take on it.
I didn't see. Not having seen it, I didn't even pick up on it.
Okay.
I didn't know what they. I thought he was just being like, "Oh, I've seen you on TV or something." I don't know. But anyway, the
That
whole
would just take me out of the realism of that movie.
the whole thing with these 2 characters. So she's with that guy, and then we find out pretty immediately that she was with Icarus, and so it's Icarus and Cersei's were together, and they're immediately set up this weird like, oh, he's back because we don't know where he'd been. That's part of the plot of the movie, and it's this weird like they were trying to do this will they won't they thing, but it didn't. I was like, but you've already introduced us to a way better person and character that we like in the first 10 minutes, who then doesn't show up for the whole movie. But like you're like, I don't care about this other relationship because I don't want her to be with him anyway. I would argue those 2 had no chemistry whatsoever, but I would say all the others, I liked the chemistry. Like I did enjoy the Angelina Jolie story with her. Everybody was essentially like paired off more or less, I felt like, but like I felt like the people who were the brighter spots of the movie didn't have enough time in the movie, like Brian Tyree Henry, who was Fastos. I wish he had been in the movie longer, and there was a part during the movie where I was like, oh my god, this movie is definitely not over yet because they don't even have this character in the movie yet. But like I thought he was great. I liked the Irish guy, the one who played Druid. Yeah. But he didn't really do anything.
Loved him. So understated, underplayed. So it was a reserved performance.
The deaf girl was good too.
Oh, Makari.
She was good.
No.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
She's
Denny's body
yeah.
language.
Yeah.
I gotta
her.
point it out. When
No.
Denny's body language when Craig talks about the Eternals, the show before this and now she's open and happy. Craig talks. So let me just play mediator for a second. Do you give any credence to what he says?
Oh, absolutely. Always.
Oh, okay. No, I mean
Always.
about the Eternals though, not.
Always. He
No,
always has valid points.
Okay.
Everyone has valid points.
And it's also,
So
it doesn't
okay.
mean that it's
Oh,
not, he's not trying to
Yeah.
convince her to hate the movie.
No.
He's just
No, no,
saying,
no,
I
no.
don't like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes people think we're trying to change their mind.
No.
And I'm like, no, I'm just saying it from our perspectives. Yeah.
She just really she enjoyed it.
I did.
I am always happy anytime someone finds any art that they actually like, they engage in
Right.
with it and they love it and it becomes something important to it. I love that because I feel the same way about so many movies and books and just all types of art.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage it, but it's way more fun when you disagree about it than when you agree
Well,
about it.
Craig did not like Shang-Chi.
No. I enjoyed it. I
didn't see that.
It's coming to Disney Plus
Yeah.
on Disney Plus Day.
When?
November,
Plus Day.
Friday, November 12th. Yeah.
Oh,
you go.
okay.
No, I liked it. I thought that it was just overly long, and that was also part of my problem with Eternals too. I am really getting tired of these long movies.
I
that
do.
Are just,
I will say I did feel like Eternals was longer than it should have been. Like,
no, and that's
was okay.
I am not crapping on her. Nomadland, I thought was one of the best movies I saw last year, and
But I hate
it
it.
fully deserved every acclaim that it got. I think part of its success for it is the fact that it was Frances McDormand who was the absolute
was
star of that
fantastic.
movie. She does not need direction at this point. I'm sure she takes it
Three
into-
Bridges over Ebbing, Missouri, the restaurant
The
here.
best,
Yeah, coming
the
to Disney
best.
Springs.
I don't think that she needs that much help with it. Whereas a lot of the cast that was in Eternals, I think a lot of them could have used some strong direction. And if you look at the other characters, like in Nomadland, and I apologize, I haven't seen any. I know like Riders, her other big movie that everyone loves and thinks is acclaimed. I don't know based on that, but based on the other characters in Nomadland, they all delivered kind of weak performances. And granted, most of them weren't actors.
Yeah, they were like real
So
people.
they were the real people that were in the story, but that's just how I ended up feeling about Eternals, is that they needed someone to help the voice of the character, and because she rewrote half of the script,
Yeah.
she wrote it from the voice that she wanted it to be in. But I think she has the same exact problem that what's his name, Aaron Sorkin has when he like went off and did Molly's Game. I love Aaron Sorkin's writing and everything he did. Molly's Game, first time directing where he has full control. And you found out real quickly, while it was still good and it had that Aaron Sorkin writing, he needed someone to edit him. He needs someone to cut it down, and he is better as a writer that then the director takes and works with him to interpret the work versus, hey, do whatever you want. And I'm pretty sure with Chloe, they let her just do what she wanted.
That's what I
And-
was saying to Denny, because Denny, you said you hadn't seen Nomadland, right? Is like,
No, I haven't.
Is that style that she has is this like she's got these like big shots, these big beautiful shots.
Well, you can
she's
see that in Eternals,
and you can
so-
see it in Eternals, but like it doesn't. It's like somebody then went through and like chopped it up, because it would be like, oh, here's this great shot we're coming in. So like the shot would be like, let's say it's coming in, swooping down to somebody who's walking over, and they're gonna go like pick this thing up. So the continuous shot would be the camera coming in, coming up to the person, coming over to the object. They'd pick up the object. I noticed it over and over and again. It would be one shot. It wouldn't be different setups. It would, because you can tell the difference. It would be one shot edited 5 times. Like it would chop, 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 chop. Where I was like, somebody went through this and really tried to speed up the where I felt like
Pacing.
that. Yeah, and there were moments that and it's funny because I had read an article about with the cinematographer where they were talking about where she's saying there was a lot of really long shots in this movie, and I don't think there was a single shot that lasted very long in the entire movie when I was watching it. Like
Not that I
they
noticed.
were the same shots, but they were chopped up. So I like when it comes out, I could be like, oh, that one, that one, that one. Like it literally kept happening throughout a lot of them in the different ages. It was happening for that. And I was like, and it feels wasted to me because I was like, this is that moment where I was like, I know we wanted that calm, we wanted that thing, but I also think this would have been a 5-hour movie had it really stayed
Can
to
we
that.
just agree that Squirt was the worst character?
Squirt, Sprite,
Sprite, yeah.
Squirt.
Yeah.
Squirt.
I was like-
I refuse to ruin the good name of Sprite that the Coca-Cola company
I
has
think.
built
I
up.
think. Well, the
Can't give away anything from the
yeah,
plot.
yeah. I honestly, it was the plot line I cared maybe the least
Yes.
about. Yeah, because
I would agree.
it was ultimately one of those things where I was like, it's very unrelatable. I feel like to anybody watching it. Like, not that everything has to be, but it was like it was the only one where it felt a little. It felt forced, and what bums me out is I kind of wish we had spent more time with like Fastos because I wanted to
Yes.
see how he
Oh,
went from
any
the
of-
40s
Yeah.
into
Instead-
the family, you know.
And I love Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
The Big Sick is one of my favorite movies. I love Silicon Valley. I watch every single thing he does, and this was the first time I was like, ugh, just they really wanted you to be the breakout comedic voice in this, but the movie's not funny. It just
I did enjoy the sprinkling of humor throughout the little moments here and there. I left on Thursday night going, okay, so I don't feel it didn't feel as familiar as we've gotten as I feel with other
I think
Marvel
across
movies.
the board, yeah.
And so my husband really pushed me on that and said and just asked me, okay, so did you feel familiar when you were introduced to new characters? I mean, there was a point at which you didn't know all these characters that you know so well right now and feel so familiar with. And I went, you've got a point. You're right, because when I first saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I didn't know what to do with them. With those characters, I didn't know what to do with them. How would they ever mesh with everyone else that we know in the MCU?
Oh my god!
How would
Somebody
they ever
literally
interact?
just said Guardians right here at the same time. That's
Or
crazy.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that, and so when he pushed me on that, and I went, yeah. And now Guardians is like one of my very
Yeah.
favorite things
Okay.
of all the things.
They feel separate
So-
still to me, Guardians. Feel separate from the Marvel.
I don't know. When they
universe.
rolled in Infinity War
Oh,
and
yeah.
Rubber Band Man started
That
playing, I went,
part.
oh, here's my Guardians. I've been waiting for him.
I think there's the thing that I'm maybe struggling with a little bit is that I don't want to talk about it, but the way this movie ends, I mean, I'll just tell you, it feels very to be continued. And I had literally just read an article that said from one of the producers of Marvel who were like, we don't really have a thing mapped out with what we're doing or where we're going with this particular property. Like, we're not saying we must have 3 of these or whatever. But it felt, when you watch the movie, that I hope to God they did, because it was very aggressive. Like, it felt like they were like, there are 3 different storylines that can go wherever, but I was like, but also what happens is so weird that it's like, how on earth, it feels like this was a Marvel movie made by another studio where they're like, oh, or like how Venom is still like in the Spider-Man universe, but they don't acknowledge Spider-Man quite yet, but like the Vulture is going to be a Morbius and everything. So it's like this thing, it feels like that, where they're essentially trying with the Eternals to now create another MCU that still exists with this MCU, but it's going to be its own universe with characters and storylines that do their own thing unconnected, like a whole other sidestep. Like it won't be a part of this. Like, so that's where I was thinking, like, maybe they're just branching off the MCU to try to pull off, like, okay, we'll go over here, we'll go over here. Because this one, it's crazy because Loki, Doctor Strange, the WandaVision, and Spider-Man about to come out, like, all that has dealt with multiverse and splitting apart realities and everything like that. And then this other movie came and it was about something completely different, but also does tie into Guardians Volume 2 because Peter's father, Ego, is a Celestial.
Yes, and so I've done a lot of deep dives on YouTube since seeing it Thursday and Friday night and going, okay, so that's part of the things that they pull out is all the other Celestials that we have met already in the MCU, and I just went,
I think
oh
Thanos
my
is related to it somehow.
gosh.
Like, because Thanos is a
Right?
Titan. There's the Celestials, there's the Titans, and it's like Celestial Titans.
Yeah.
They're
Like,
all interwoven,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
This is where we
anyway,
gotta watch a little bit.
we gotta stop.
Otherwise, we're gonna let
I
something.
agree.
Oh, it's
I
already.
agree.
It's already. I saw that it was out there everywhere.
Yeah,
on the
I mean,
internet.
it
was
is,
just
but
like, I
in
can't
this
believe
Not
room,
here.
Blatantly
in this
did
room,
it. Oh,
we
no,
don't
Not
have
here,
those
by
things.
yeah.
golly.
So
We can talk about
Casual
something
Marvel
else, though.
fan that maybe saw half the movies what would you say I need to see before
Nothing.
I could see Eternals?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They literally
It's-
only mention them
it's
in
an-
passing. Yeah.
it's
Okay,
adjunct.
Jackie, we're going.
There we go.
It's
just go.
completely
Yeah.
adjunct
Yeah,
to
I don't think you would have literally had to have seen a single one of the, except
like
for
that
well,
it's a
except
new-
for they
I
do
like
talk
that.
about the Thanos snap because
Okay,
because
good. You know that.
one of the
As long as
characters
you're
says
familiar
5
with that.
years ago.
I'll
blah,
explain
blah, blah.
Thanos Snap before we go.
Okay.
There
Well,
you go.
she literally it's wrapped up in she says 5 years ago half the population disappeared when Thanos and then the people of this planet brought them back with a snap of a finger.
At Halloween
And
Horror
that's
Nights,
it,
I
you know?
started to understand Thanos much better. I started to really understand him. Come on, Halloween Horror Nights. Didn't you just want to go?
Oh no, I feel that every single day. I feel that in this room right now.
I feel like
I'm not telling you
Half
which
of
ones.
us gone.
Not saying which ones.
God. is
I
in
know.
this
I'd like to
Chili's.
pick and choose. I don't want to just do a random half. I'd like to. Yeah. No.
Oh, sorry, bud.
You know, I think part of what's happening right now is with Eternals 2, I feel like maybe I'm being a little more critical of it
Eternals
because
2 or as well.
as well.
Okay.
With Eternals as well because like I'll be quite honest. Still, of everything that I've seen this past year, I would probably say like Dune is my absolute favorite. It is so
Did
freaking.
you see that yet?
I haven't seen it.
It was such an experience, and it is long. It is a slog, but there is something about
Just
it that
brilliantly
That's an
done.
interesting
Yeah.
word.
But
It's-
it is
Long
slow. It's like
slog.
reading a slow novel.
it's like reading a giant book, which
it
is
is.
exactly what Dune is. And this was only half of the story, which that sets it up even more. But I think because of that, I think No Time to Die was executed so well. There's just so many good movies out there, and I'm not saying that when like Marvel was at its working at its best, it's because there wasn't other good movies out there. But I think it might have been like a factor for me at least that I was enjoying what Marvel was putting out more than a lot of other franchises and other just even standalone blockbusters that were released. But right now there's with the pandemic pushing movie schedules all around and stuff, it's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, we do have to remember this is not in any way the intended release. This isn't
Right.
how these movies
Yeah.
are supposed to be presented.
This was supposed
to,
to
the
be, I
public.
think, before Shang-Chi and something. This one was supposed to be before that, and I think maybe not before Black Widow, but I remember it was before some of the shows.
yeah.
It was before a
Yes.
couple of the shows, so that's where I was like, I think that also maybe makes it feel a little off because it. If we hadn't just had a successive amount of things that have to do with this multiverse thing, that's where I was like, God, I don't care. I want to know about the multiverse stuff. Like, don't give me this whole other thing. I will say, with no spoiler, but I did feel like they were really forcing another character into this. Like, it's starting to feel a little like it did at the beginning when they would plop random people down and shove it. Like, because that one guy, all the way at the very end of the movie, I was just like, this literally had no impact on the entire film, but it feels like you shoved him in here so that
It was
later
a
we
very
could have a
jump
thing.
the shark
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Feeling.
We are confirming Fonzie is at the end of Eternals.
Yes, he is.
Not-
in his little swim trunks.
Not Henry Winkler, like actual Fonzie.
exactly
Yes.
what I thought.
Goodness.
In his leather jacket and his swim trunks.
And the movie ends with just, hey! and it fade to black.
You'll see me next movie. Hey, like
Fonzie
wow, he
will
really
return.
broke the fourth wall on this one.
I am looking forward to Ghostbusters next week, and then
I cannot.
yeah,
wait for
I can't.
Ghostbusters.
That one's like I'm gonna be emotional when I watch it. I know I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then
Or you won't.
that's The Matrix.
yeah.
I am looking forward to
so
The Matrix. I don't care.
My husband has watched all of the Matrix movies, loves them all. I have watched little bits and pieces here and there, but I would like to go and experience the new Matrix with him. So, but I'm somewhat hesitant.
I pretty much watch
So
anything
kinda
with Keanu
creepy.
Reeves. I don't care. Yeah, Mike.
Well, I love Bill and Ted.
What about West Side Story?
Yes. Okay, so very interesting to watch the preview from the other night because literally you wouldn't know it's a musical.
I think that's
Intentional.
a very intentional
And how
part
many
of the marketing.
people? Yeah, Brian
Wait,
said
do you
how
think
many
do you
people
think
are
that
gonna come in
is
here?
to bring them in so they don't know?
Yes, I think.
Yes,
I think there
100%.
are a lot of younger people who see what's his name, Baby Driver,
and Cindy Algor, or
yeah,
whatever, yeah.
and I think they're seeing it and saying, "Oh, what is
see
this?
that."
What is this?" I
and
mean,
they're going to come in and have a musical unfold. Like,
I mean, they do sing in each one of the previews, though. I mean, one person sings, I guess. There's
Yes.
no, like, they're also, yeah, I don't know.
she's just singing tonight.
I'm surprised
over
Steven
it.
Spielberg made West. I didn't know there was an audience for West Side
Apparently, it's
Story.
been like a dream. It's been his, like, dream project. So
Oh.
that's, like, he's wanted to do it for a long time, I read about. And that's why finally they were like, okay, well, we'll just make it happen because we want to make sure. Because I think he's, I think he'll direct movies for the rest of his life, but it seems like he's trying to get through a bunch of those, like, wish list projects to
Yeah.
slow down a little bit, is what it seemed like. But
Are you
some
gonna see
interview
it?
I saw.
oh yeah, no, I was always going to see it, but I wasn't sold on it until seeing like the last trailer and seeing it in Dolby and hearing that sound.
Yeah,
and
The
being like,
cinematography looks great.
okay, this is going to be a perfect Christmas movie. Like I love a good Christmas movie, whether it was when they were trying to push Star Wars in at that time or anything else that just feels epic. And I think it's going to be beautiful. I have high hopes.
Yeah. I look forward to that. I mean, Spider-Man's right around there too. There's, like I said, there's like The Matrix,
is
and then there's
crazy.
there's a Fox. No, West Side Story is Fox. Is 20th Century, but there was like another movie where I was like, wow, Disney is just heavy loading the last 2 months, because there was another one.
Oh, Encanto?
Yeah, because Encanto's like
yeah.
around Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, so it was like Encanto.
that's right.
That
It was
looks
West Side.
beautiful.
It was like,
So the
not
Encanto
as interested in
preview
that
that played before Eternals, like now, I mean, because it was an expanded preview.
yeah, now it
and
makes
so
more sense about
Now
what the
I
plot
know
is,
what
guess,
the
like-
movie is going to be
Right,
about.
right.
That's what I
And
needed
it's an original,
to see.
right?
It
This
was
is an
good.
original
Yeah.
thing.
Thank.
Is it a Lin-Manuel
Yes.
Miranda?
It
Yes.
absolutely is,
Is
buddy.
it no?
Yes.
Encanto is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
He's taking care of the music.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I don't.
Listen. He's
I'm-
he's here
I'm-
to stay,
I'm
so
usually
you
wrong.
better get on the train.
I don't
or
dislike
get
him.
out of
I
the
think he's a
station.
good guy. Like, have you seen the video that somebody did online where it's Lin-Manuel Miranda auditioning for Wicked,
No.
and he does Defying Gravity? Oh my god,
Oh,
the guy
God.
does it so good. But it's like, what's the wife's name in Hamilton? Eliza. There's a part in the song
Yeah.
where he's just like, Eliza. Just
In the middle of defying.
Wicked. Yeah. No, because the guy's doing an impression.
Yeah, I
it's
get
like-
that, but still,
But
it's
he
a bold move.
he does. Yeah, there's another one who did like Billy Porter doing the audition too. And I thought that one was pretty spot on. But yes, I don't know what else is coming out. There was another movie. There was another one that I was excited for. Clearly, so much I can't remember anymore.
I'll just say, because I know we brought up West Side Story before, and we, got brought up again here, obviously, and one of the people pointed out it's a movie that doesn't need a remake. But we talked about copyright that one day, and with Disney and what's going to happen after it all lifts with Mickey, and see how the world changes once you can't just push it off anymore. I think I'm starting to get in the idea of, you know what? Why not just remake everything? Literally, there is so little true original stuff yet that I actually might want to see people just try to do remakes that expand upon the story, or they find a way to make it their
okay,
own.
but if it expands upon the story, then that's technically not a remake.
But
Like, no, you don't have to remake The Wizard of Oz. Please don't.
there
remake
should
The
never
Wizard
be
of Oz.
a shot-by-shot remake of.
Do you remember they did that with
anything.
Psycho? How horrible the
Yes,
shot by shot was. Like,
Exactly. But find a new way to interpret the
Yes.
material and
100%.
make it in that way. And I think
I agree with
I
that.
do want. I think I'm starting to get more and more open for that, because then every now and then, like, you have something that works out real well. I'm
Yes.
sure there was a lot of old people who were saying, remake True Grit. You can't remake True Grit. The what do they call John Wayne? The whatever. It's just how can you beat him?
Poltergeist remake was horrible.
That was horrible.
That
But
one,
then
the mistake was like, it's not the same family, but it's the same plot.
Yeah,
and I was
it
like,
was-
but literally the same events happened. And I was like, this doesn't make.
But
any
it
sense.
has to be a story. Something like Poltergeist is not a strong story
No.
by itself. just happens that it was Steven Spielberg being involved at the right time in the 80s with just everything came together in the right way. But when it comes down to like a story, and if it's a
remember the
good
other
story, it can be remade and reinterpreted. That's why, West Side Story bounces off of the Romeo and Juliet style
Right.
and goes with that. If the story is strong, it can always be remade with a new lens on it, in my opinion.
And
The King's Man.
Oh yeah,
That was the other movie, which is
Oh,
also a Disney
yes.
movie technically now. So anyway, sorry. But yeah, I agree with you.
I want to say about West Side Story. It's also a chance to broaden the representation in West Side Story, which is really, I think, the lead for me entering into this musical, because I sat there in drama class in high school watching West Side Story, and so now this is a chance to kind of right the ship a little bit and have accurate cultural representation. So I'm excited about that.
See, and back to when you guys were talking about these remakes and stuff, or whether they do remakes or expand the story. I just watched Cruella. I loved it.
So good.
So good. Oh my gosh. And so much to the point where I watched it twice, because I watched it and my husband was like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Didn't want to watch it. So I'm like, well,
Get
what?
over yourself,
Too
Jerry.
bad.
Ultimate
Yeah, I
bitch
was.
fight between the two Emmas.
Yes. I'm
Ultimate.
like, too bad. I'm watching it. Well, I was ranting and raving about it to my daughter, and my husband overheard and was like, so was it good enough that you'd be willing to watch it again? And I said, yeah,
Yes.
it sure was. As a matter of fact. So we watched it a second time, and I sat there and the whole
Loved it
time
again.
loved it so very much. And what I especially love about it is that it gives you a look inside to who Cruella DeVille is and why she's the way she is. Now, I don't want to give away any spoilers, obviously, but I love knowing those things that were revealed in that movie, so that you have a kind of a backstory, kind of like Saving Mr. Banks to Mary
I
Poppins.
love Saving
Oh,
Mr. Banks.
Me
But-
too. It's like my
But
ultimate
I,
love that
favorite.
too,
I
yeah.
did. I do
So
think
favorite.
Cruella was successful in terms of like it was the right amount of like campiness, where
Yeah.
it's like we know it embraced being like we know exactly what we're doing, but
Exactly.
they
Yes.
took this
Right.
character and they put her in a new time where they were like,
Yes.
wouldn't it be interesting if we removed this character out of like the 40s and the 50s? 40s and 50s? Is that when the original 101 Dalmatians is? Is it earlier than that?
Oh, I don't
So-
know.
in the 60s.
Well, no, it's 60s because TV is around,
Yeah.
because they watch the Canine
That's true. Yeah,
Crunchies.
I was like, I
commercial.
know he was big into jazz though. That was the whole
Canine
thing, wasn't
Crunchies
it?
Temple.
So they took it and like, they set it a little bit later, right? Because it's the late 70s in this one, isn't it? Because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the punk fashion scene or whatever. And that's where I was like, that's cool. Like I thought reframing it a little bit was like the good thing, and then I don't know. It's like comes down to the actors though too, where you just said like the two Emmas were just phenomenal in the movie.
I think Emma
like,
Thompson actually took it for me more than
Yeah.
Love Emma
The other
Thompson.
that part where
She
she's
is
eating the
so
thing and she takes the toothpick
Oh.
out and throws the toothpick, and I'm just like,
Yes.
God, you're good.
I enjoyed it more the
She's
second
so
time around. Did you?
good. I did.
Because I was like, oh, this scene is coming up good.
Yeah.
Did you like it? I can't remember.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh, now you're gonna
I'll watch
hate
it eventually.
'cause we talked about
Homework.
it too much. Yeah.
Just
That's
try to
fine.
do it before everybody gives everything away.
I honestly,
You don't care.
It's
I
that
don't
good.
care.
No, Craig, it's good.
yeah, no. It's I want to see it. I missed it when it was in theaters, and so if I miss it in theaters, then I have to be in the right mood and the right environment at the right time.
Throwing out a series on Netflix that I don't know if any of you see. Did anybody see Midnight Mass?
Oh,
They did.
Don't you
I-
can't
talked
talk
about
about it yet.
yeah.
I didn't watch it yet.
Oh
Okay,
my
but you
gosh, I
did?
thought you
Yes.
did.
No, I watched The Haunting of Hill
What
House.
did
So
you
I'm
th-
not
I
on that one yet.
thought it was
Okay.
phenomenal.
oh yeah, no, I love
Okay.
it. I love Midnight
I'm
Mass.
still getting over it. Like it's one of those that sits with. Did you see it?
No,
Would you?
I don't know.
Oh, Denny, I will.
Because it's creepy,
I
right?
will watch it with you if you
Oh,
want
no.
to watch it. It's that good.
Oh, John, I don't know about
Oh, it's so good. No, so good. Slow burn also. Like you really get into the characters. They're not just rushing it.
Yeah. Oh no,
Midnight Mass.
I did. I finally got around to Squid Games. Because
I liked it, but
yeah, it was one of the. I will never rewatch it if they have another season. If I had a weekend that I had really nothing else going on, I'd watch it again. But it was my wife had to go out of town, and so I was like, okay, what can I put on in the background that I haven't seen before that won't necessarily
It has
freak her out?
subtitles, right?
No,
Doesn't
and
it?
Well,
it's dubbed. It's
yeah.
badly dubbed.
Oh, okay, it's
Okay. I was
dubbed.
like,
So-
how could you
Okay.
watch that?
Unfortunately,
Interesting,
you can watch it with the subtitles on. My problem is I wanted to watch it that way,
Okay.
and I could not figure out how to switch it on Netflix. Like, why isn't
You wanted to
there a
watch the
place?
dub?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it in
So that you'd be
Korean
able to
and
put it
then
back.
be able to
Yeah,
read
I
it, just
see.
because the dub is atrociously
Atrocious.
bad. Not only, obviously with the dub they have to try to reinterpret the meaning of everything in the best way possible, but none of the characters' voices I feel like are actually
Match.
even respectful to
Except
them.
the old man.
Yes, the old.
He's the only one I felt.
yeah.
fit.
It seriously, it is one of the worst dubs of anything that I've ever
And I think
heard.
it's the most popular
so
thing that was
sad.
ever shown on Netflix.
It
ever.
is.
How
And I get-
crazy is that a dubbed show? Now, if they remake it and they know that it's going to
I
be
don't
for
think they-
America,
I don't think they
no, I
will.
don't mean remake.
Yeah.
I mean if they do a sequel and they know it's going to be mostly for American audiences, will it be in English or will
No,
they?
I don't think they'll do that. Yeah.
You think they'll just keep it the way?
Yeah, I think that's the whole idea. From what I understand, is there's a thing at Netflix they're aggressively trying to make that sort of entertainment that wasn't made for an American audience or was international film. I forget the word they're using at Netflix now, but it's essentially they want audiences to be consuming other cultural content without it having to be reframed for the American
Wow.
audience. Because they're basically trying to be like, yeah, other countries make stuff that's just as good, if not
it
better,
works.
and you need to just watch that version instead of making your own.
And
Like,
I haven't looked into it or know if it's true, but apparently Squid Game was filmed like 10 years ago, and like nobody picked it up or wanted it.
it wasn't filmed 10 years ago. He did pitch it 10 years ago, though.
Okay.
So the guy had essentially worked on it for like 10 years, but it wasn't filmed until like the last 2 years or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
I don't think. That's how I understand, but yeah.
It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, is somebody in the chat? Oh, sorry. Go
Yes.
ahead.
No, I was just
Yeah.
going to say that
Uh-huh.
I think it was one of those things like obviously you can piece together a lot of what is going to happen, but it did a good job at still finding one or two surprises, especially in like the last couple episodes. So while you will sit through the first 6, I would say, and be like, yeah, saw that coming,
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. I know
There
what
is
you're saying.
one specific episode that then after that it's like, okay, they're willing to do anything now.
Yeah.
And after making it set up like, no, it is also very Game of Thrones in that way, which would probably make sense why a lot of people liked it. In terms of like Game of Thrones, if you read the books, you knew what was going to happen, but if you watch the show and you get to a certain part of it that's then like, what just happened there? How did they let this happen? That's kind of how I felt about Squid Game once it got to the pinnacle moment of it. But that's the best I can do without, giving it all away. There's no squids involved.
No squids were
Yeah,
harmed.
I
What
can't
am I
say
watching
that.
this for? Didn't I watch The Octopus, My Teacher?
I know you did not watch that.
Because that's not even the title.
Yeah. I mean, it's close enough. My
Hey.
Octopus's teacher? My teacher, the octopus?
I think it's
My
my
dinner
teacher,
with
the
Andre?
octopus. My dinner with the octopus. That was
That's
it.
it.
And that's you, where you were eating the charred octopus that one night. The Rockin' with Dan, I agree. He says a great show is Only Murders in the Building.
That's
show
next
was
on our list.
So it was one of those shows where I thought the first episode I was like, oh, this is good. Like, this is fun. And then every episode was like better than the last. And I was just like, wow, this is a good, like, talk about one of those things where you're like, I mean, I love Steve Martin, but it's actually Martin Short, I think, is phenomenal on the show. I mean, they're both great, but Martin Short, there is like, I will be shocked if he's not nominated for an Emmy for the show, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they both will be, but he especially was like, I was like, man, I wish there was more. I want you guys to just only be in stuff with each other. But then Selena Gomez is really good on the show
She is
with
good.
them too. Like, that chemistry is great. It's such a good show. I'm gonna rewatch it. My mom's like, I don't want to watch spooky things. I'm like, okay, first of all, it's not spooky. And she goes, Steve, they're not funny. And I said, are you kidding me? And I was like, you made me watch Father of the Bride and all these movies or whatever. And she was like, when they were younger, they're not funny anymore.
Oh.
And I was like, Did you just like make that fact up out of your head? Like she'll pull that out of the air sometimes and be like,
I love her.
she was watching The Greatest Showman and she was like, who's that guy who looks a lot like Wolverine?
It is literally.
And I'm like,
Wolverine.
are you freaking kidding me right now? I was like, that is Wolverine. No, it's not.
Okay, Mom.
To be fair, I understand how you can be in a daze while watching that movie.
Oh, shut up. She bought it. She loved it so much she bought it for everybody.
You don't like Greatest Showman?
Oh, it is one of the worst offenses
But
to not just movies,
RJ, you
but
should have
also
talked about this.
musicals.
Let's get him.
let's get him.
God.
No.
Let's get him.
Okay,
Greatest
why don't?
Showman-
Okay, you can come get me. You all have to get in a coordinated line and constantly run at me like you're running at the camera while singing and kind of hunched over. The choreography, the music,
Not the choreography
it is-
in this show.
it is such a garbage movie.
Oh
and
no!
and the thing is,
oh no!
our generation
right now?
that loves it will not transfer to the next one, and they're going to be watching it like I don't. I'm trying to think of a musical from like the '60s that is just like so
have a button.
cringeworthy now.
The Greatest Whorehouse in Texas? Is that a musical?
Craig.
I'm just picking names of things out of my head.
Gosh.
I'm just looking at you and thinking disgust.
I had to sanitize
It's
after
not.
what he said.
I
Here's the
know.
thing.
Yes,
I
scrub
agree.
down.
I agree that the movie, like structurally, the movie is not the best movie ever made. However, it is. For me, it is pure
entertaining.
entertainment
Pure
from
entertainment.
beginning to
Yes.
end, and I
Same.
love the music and I love the dancing. That's why I'm shocked you're saying the thing about the dancing.
Okay,
So
I mean,
entertaining.
listen, I showed.
The arm choreography by one Miss Rebecca Ferguson.
Listen, I showed
Love how
you
you said
right
that.
before we did the show today. I showed you a clip from Joe Dirt. I like terrible things too, but you have to accept when what you're watching is bad and just acknowledge it and say, "Yeah, this is
bad
this
and I
is a
love it."
crappy movie, but I love it." It's so bad, it's good is a real thing. That's why people lose their minds going to watch
I don't think
Tommy
it's, I think
Wiseau
it's like
movies.
I think in terms of it, the movie, if we're talking about in the standpoint of like, oh, read book movies, how are they made? What's the hero's journey? It's not the best in terms of that. But I'm like, I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever seen or anything like that. I don't think it's a bad movie.
It's so entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Bad things can be entertaining.
This is-
I mean, yeah.
It's called. It's why it's like watching a train
Train
wreck
wreck.
because sometimes bad things are fun to watch.
Yeah, that's true. But I just don't think it's bad. I love that movie. That's another movie that I've seen several times. We're all
You know what's a
crushed.
bad movie that I liked? Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Oh, it's not a. It's the greatest movie ever made.
You can't trust these people.
Algonquin.
Oh, Gonk. Yeah, the
Oh,
dog.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Love that movie, Elvira.
I think I actually think it's one of those movies that's aging better than it should because
Yeah.
it's like this great commentary about how terrible people. One, how people judge people by the way they look, and then how people are unaccepting of people that are different than them. But also like how women are treated, their bodies when they're like open with their sexuality and stuff like that. I think there's a lot going on in that movie where I'm like, this is actually one of those movies that comes off terrible, but is like pretty clever in terms of the message it's sending.
No, I mean Elvira though. It fits in again in that '80s time period where it
Yeah.
worked with that like right around Transylvania 65000, which is just such a funny movie too. But also really really bad. Gina Davis just walking around with her. Her hoo-ha's out basically the entire movie.
Is that Earth Girls Are Easy?
No. It's
That's
also
that
Jeff
movie
Goldblum.
with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
And-
this
Yeah, yeah.
is
because they were married. Gina and Jeff got married.
yeah.
Really?
So
because of The Fly, they were in The Fly. Earth Girls Are Easy, and then the Transylvania.
yeah. So this is the one with who's the crazy vegan?
Alanis Morissette.
No. Older guy who has like white hair
Oh,
now.
Ed
Used to-
Begley Jr.?
Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
got
you.
it.
I know it's maybe not vegan, but like very
Earthy.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
very
so
earthy, yeah.
it's him and it's. I just feel bad because someone. I made a vegan joke on something recently too, and I don't want people
You
to
did.
think that I
They took
have
offense.
anything. Yeah, they
Greg
did.
brought me a plant-based lunch
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
I
We went to
literally-
the vegan chicken place.
Yes,
and got
I
me-
also ate mine.
You
I
said they don't
I
celebrate
know why.
holidays.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, vegans don't
all
celebrate
right.
holidays. No, so it's Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr. They go to Transylvania to do an article or a news report on they thought that they saw Frankenstein, and
Oh, I remember
so
this movie.
then it's like everything's weird. They go to the castle in Transylvania, and Michael Richards, better known as Kramer, is like a crazy butler type thing, and it's wacky. And Gina Davis basically looks like a Dracula who's Elvira. I'm not going to ruin the plot of it, the twist, I should say, if you haven't watched it in a while. It's on Amazon Prime. I highly recommend you watch it. Thank you, my pet.
There it
I will
is.
get off my platform. Also, vegans do not celebrate holidays.
I want that
I think-
Elvira NECA figure
Yeah.
that came out.
I think it's partially too because Rhino and
Yeah.
I were
Funkos
talking
are
about
good, too.
Scott Pilgrim
Yeah.
recently, and like that's my favorite thing is the whole vegan section
Chicken
of that.
isn't vegan. It's milk and eggs, bitch. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Where he's like, October 1st, you ingested gelato, and he's like, gelato isn't vegan. He's like, it's milk and eggs, bitch. And then he just goes in and he goes, and he says, oh, I'm sorry. And then he's like, on whatever August 25th, you had chicken parmesan. Chicken isn't vegan. Like that's right. You just know how vegan makes you better than everyone else. See, the thing is, your head is 50% curds and whey. But when you're vegan, you're using all that mind power. I love that scene because it's also my favorite underrated line in the whole movie where he's like, if I told everyone I got wet from the rain, if I said I got wet from the rain, would you lie for me so that no one would know I peed my pants? And she's like, it's not raining. It's just such a quick, and he just goes, oh. It's such a
small
quick,
detail.
it's after he punched him like up into the sky and he falls back down. Plus, I always love the cleaning lady on Monday. Tell it to the cleaning lady on Monday. And he's just like, why? And he's like, because the cleaning lady, she cleans and you'll be dust by then. And the cleaning lady, she dusts. And he's like, yeah, but why Monday? And he's like, well, it's Friday now and she has the weekends off. And like, I just love that whole exchange. That is my favorite scene in the movie. Would you tell everyone I peed my pants?
My God.
You should just say I got wet in the rain. It's not raining. Oh,
You goofball.
I'm gonna watch that scene the second we're done. We're done. I'm watching that scene.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
done.
That's hilarious.
Anything
What do you
else?
watch? Nothing?
I mean,
Milk and eggs.
I don't watch a lot of TV. I feel like I remember having this tiny little TV in my house as a kid. It was just this teeny little
Really?
black and white
Okay.
TV, and it had the knob that you turn. You know, we never had one with a remote. I mean, my parents just weren't like electronic kind of.
I'm getting like the image that you
like-
lived in like a tree.
I lived in, well, according to my husband, I was raised in a box. So, you know, I apparently was. Because I remember being so mad. I was 7 years old, and it was when the Brady Bunch was on. And my parents changed my bedtime from 8:30 to 8.
Unfair.
And I was
That's going in the wrong
royally-
direction.
There's no DVR.
Yeah, like I was royally so mad.
So you
Like
couldn't watch the Brady
just
Bunch
so mad.
anymore?
Well, and then about a month after they changed my bedtime, the Brady Bunch moved to 8:30. And
Frickin'
do you
Florence
know-
Henderson.
Seriously, and my parents would not let me stay up and watch it no matter what. And they scarred me for life.
Unbelievable.
My whole
You-
life.
We
You
should
have
just
watched-
watch the clip in the TV like we did when we watched the trailer.
Oh yeah.
When you hear, here's a story, Jackie.
Send me the link.
Yeah, I get twitchy.
You've watched something recently though. What was it that you?
I watched The Big Bang Theory,
Okay.
Okay.
and
Craig's favorite.
I
Schitt's
love
Creek.
it so very
That's
much.
what it was.
Oh, and I
Schitt's
love
Creek.
Schitt's Creek too.
Yeah.
But The Big Bang Theory is just gold to me. And I was telling my parents about it the other day because they were looking for something to watch, and you know, and my dad's over there going, "Well, you know, that's an old show." And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess, but it's new to me." So I never watched. So
there you
whatever.
go.
But
What does Jackie like watching? Sunshine,
Big Bang,
smiles,
Sunshine,
Yes.
rainbows,
paint.
not
Yes,
really.
unicorns.
comfy
There's-
clouds.
Comfy clouds.
There's actually a couple of shows on Netflix that I watched. Gosh, I can't remember what the one is, but my daughter was watching it, and it was about these moms who turned into robbers. They were like
Oh,
trying to make
yeah.
money. What was that?
Oh,
Good
so,
Girls.
yeah,
Good
Good
Girls.
Girls. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Brian watched
Yeah,
that.
that was really good. I keep stalking to see when the next episode is going to come or when the next season is going to come. But yeah, I mean, I like stuff other than Sunshine and Rainbows. But I can't figure out, like, everybody's tastes in TV is so different. So I'm not watching anything really currently except for just old reruns of Big Bang Theory.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's all right.
I just started Boardwalk Empire. I didn't even know it existed.
really.
I know. I just started, but I like it. It's like The
It's-
Godfather.
Yeah, it definitely the first 3 seasons.
Then it
I
goes downhill.
love, and then it kind of goes downhill
Okay.
a little bit, but they still wrap it up. But yeah, I was enthralled with it. That was
Really?
Robbie Cannavale.
yeah. So we did
Oh,
not
he's in
have
it? He's not in season 1 so
no,
far.
no. He does show up.
Oh,
Probably
okay,
on Will
good.
and
Yeah.
Grace at that point, and then is on this show, and
Yeah.
then gets some weird back and forth.
Yeah, we didn't have HBO when I was growing up, so I missed out on. I mean, granted, I was way too young to be watching most of the shows on HBO, anyways. But I just completely missed out. Even going through college, I didn't watch anything that was kind of on at that point in time. So then when I moved to Florida and it might have been right before that, but when I was really broke and I discovered how easy piracy was, then I was like, okay, time to catch up on all these HBO shows.
My gosh.
And see some of them. And so like I can't remember which one I watched. I might have watched one other one first, but then I was like, oh my gosh,
Sopranos.
HBO is like next level compared to other
Yeah.
channels. So then it was Boardwalk Empire, and then Game of Thrones started quickly after that, and that's why I love HBO.
Did
HBO
you
Max.
do The Many Saints
go.
of Newark, anyone?
I've never watched a single episode of Sopranos.
Me neither.
Okay, you?
Never.
No, I've never
No?
seen it.
Okay.
Yet.
Then you aren't going to enjoy that.
I was gonna go to the theater and see it, but I was like, will I understand
No,
anything?
I mean, you will, but you won't get the same thing from it unless you know The Sopranos. I would watch The Sopranos when you get a chance and then go watch it.
I'm just not into mob-related stuff. Doesn't do it for me. No. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Sometimes it's fine.
It matters.
I don't love The Godfather. I did not care for The Godfather.
You're killing me.
I've never seen
killing me. You're killing
I
me.
get it. I get it. I get it. I get the cinematic things that are a part of it, but it just I'm very bored. Very bored.
If you eat a cannoli, I'm going to just smack it right out of you.
I know. I just don't know.
God,
I don't know.
I think
So
it's
good.
for me. I don't always connect with Italian mafia, but like
Close your
no
ears.
offense. But Road to Perdition is one of
Is it the Irish Mafia?
well, yeah, it's more on the Irish side of it.
I don't know.
So,
I literally don't know because I haven't seen that movie either, so I don't know.
me either.
how have you not?
I know.
I know Rhino hasn't seen it because I try to get him to watch it all the time, and he always just ignores
I'm worried
it. Like
it's going to be like
everything.
Sin City.
No, it is not
I
like
hate
Sin
Sin
City.
City.
It's literally Tom Hanks. It's Tom Hanks. Do you think he would be in a Sin City style movie?
I mean, the man could be anything.
Doc.
That's true.
Walt Disney.
Doc McQueen. What's his name? Can't even think of it. Doc Hudson. Doc Hudson's in it.
Oh,
Doc.
Why can't I think of his
yeah,
freaking
Paul
name?
Newman.
Paul
Yeah,
Newman.
I was like, what are you saying? Doc McQueen.
Doc Hudson.
Guys,
I was like, is
Guys,
that the character?
the Hudson
Doc
Hornet.
McQueen?
We have not slept in days.
Yeah, so
not
let's finish
coming
this
to me.
up.
few days.
What? Jude Law.
Oh, somebody got my Family
Jude
Guy reference.
Law is in
Katie
it.
got it. She said, "Did you find that it insisted upon itself? It insists upon itself." What does that
And
even
then our
mean?
other one.
It just insists. It has a point to make. Well,
Hey,
it has
Lois.
a very good point to make. Carrie Ells.
Hey, Lois.
Hey, Lois.
Diarrhea.
Peter, I'm holding iced tea here.
I love Family Guy.
Childish.
I love it.
111 111 1. Lois? Damn. 111 111 2. Lois? Damn.
Okay, I'm done.
You're not going
On
to play
that
the
note.
clip?
No.
Oh, I sent Craig the Scott Pilgrim clip, so
No.
he won't
Google
play
it.
We'll watch it after
done.
we're done with this and everyone in the room can enjoy it. Bye.
Oh,
I'm done. We're done.
Thank you for your support.
thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I only like you.